God,
grant me the serenity
to accept the things I cannot change,
the courage to change the things I can,
and the wisdom to know the difference.
In this edition of Overcoming Addiction, we will focus on education and prevention efforts in our school system. Tonight's guests are City of Malden Ward 7 School Committee member Catherine Bordonaro and Healthy Me Project Coordinator Laura Freeman. Together we can make a difference. Here's your host, Paul Hammersley.
Hi, I'm Paul Hammersley, President of Malden Overcoming Addiction, and welcome to another episode of Overcoming Addiction. And today we have a very special show. We're going to be talking about education and prevention in the school system. And I have a couple of very special guests with me tonight, and that's Laura Freeman and Catherine Bordonaro. How are you guys?
Well,
how's everything? Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So, we're going to be talking a lot about the school system in Malden, and I'm just going to go right into the show, Laura. I know you're at Healthy Me in Malden. Could you provide me some background on what Healthy Me is and what you guys do?
Sure. So Healthy Me is a partnership between the Institute for Health and Recovery and Cambridge Health Alliance and the Institute for Community Health. We're funded through a federal grant. It's a SAMHSA grant, which is the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Association, for 5 years. And so we service the Malden and Everett community for youth 13 to 24. And we educate and prevent around substance use disorders as well as HIV and viral hepatitis prevention.
So now, is that, obviously that's grant funded and you're doing all that work, and are you putting or working on a curriculum, or do you currently have a curriculum in the school system? And if you do, what grades are you at?
Sure, that's a great question. So we definitely utilize a curriculum. It's called Street Smart. It's an evidence-based curriculum that just has a lot of research to show that it's been effective throughout our age group that we're targeting. So we currently have groups at the high school in Malden, and we also have groups going on in Everett as well. And we do have groups out in community sites, such as the Malden Teen Enrichment Center.
Now you say groups, and you're in the high school. What exactly does that mean? Are you teaching something? Are we educating the kids? But you did mention the HIV and the substance abuse, so that's a group. They go in and they're teaching the kids about these things.
Exactly. So we have 2 facilitators, and they're our youth specialists, and that makes up our team. And they provide the education to the students and participants who are enrolled not just in high schools, but in other places as well, like the Malden Teen Enrichment Center that I mentioned. And so it's a 12-week curriculum, and they teach the participants a variety of information like refusal skills, a basic education around STIs, STDs, as well as substance use disorders.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And also just around, they use role plays to help really practice skill building.
So a role play meaning like almost like a real life situation.
Exactly.
So let me, I'm going to get back to you on this, but I want to talk about your hopes and if we can get lower, or is the goal to get lower than high school? Because I think this program sounds amazing, and I'm a firm believer if we have to get the kids as young as we possibly can. And Catherine, I'm going to switch over to you, and I know that you're heavily involved in something in the school system, and it's called FAD.
Yes.
So why don't you tell me what does FAD stand for, and what is it?
Sure. So FAD stands for Families Against Drugs, and it is, and it's a program that we use. It's me and a couple of volunteers, 2 of my colleagues that are actually currently on the school committee. And what we do is we provide education, awareness, drug and alcohol awareness to the parents. That way they could facilitate that education to the children. And it kind of opens up more like a bonding and communication between the parents or guardians and the child. And it's all age specific. So
you said that it's you and a couple of people that are educating parents. Where do you do this? How do you go about it? Like, so where is it happening? Where do these FAD meetings take place?
Yeah, so the FAD meetings take place at the elementary schools, all the K through 8 schools.
Awesome.
And we do have a children's table that we set up. Some of the parents do let the children listen to the conversation.
How old?
Well, it's K through, it's from kindergarten up to 12th grade.
Okay, so the kids could be anywhere from, it ranges. It just, you could have a 7-year-old, you could have a 15-year-old, you could have a 4-year-old.
We've had preschool, we've had parents that have children in preschool that are coming and getting worksheets from us that I provide to them. And it's all free, it's all off the internet. And they're all hypothetical questions, situations, and
On what parents could look for if somebody might have been using in their family, potentially.
right.
Okay, and how did FAD come about?
Well, that came about because I am a member of Malden Overcoming Addiction, and MOA inspired me to, to bring this program about. So it was all of the workings of MOA.
That's amazing. So you're going monthly, and you're educating parents on maybe what to look for in their children. And I believe this month, starting this month, Malden Overcoming Addiction is going to partner with you. And from what I understand, they're going to set up a table. So, for instance, your next meeting is at the
It's at the Linden School cafeteria.
And what's that date?
It's October 26th from 4 to 6.
And so Malden Overcoming Addiction will have a table there just in case there might be a parent or someone that might want to learn a little bit more, because you never know who could be struggling. So it just be, the more resources, the better in the school as far as I'm concerned, just to have that resource there, because it's about helping just one person.
Absolutely. Well, what's interesting about that is I've actually had parents that are in recovery come to the FAD meetings. And, they had said that they were in, either 7 months recovery, a year, 2 years. I've had parents come that were in tears. And the group is great. I mean, more and more parents are coming every single month. And we're really getting a lot of support. And I always will refer MOA to them because it's something that they could, I think that would help them. But, so we do have people that come in.
Yeah, someone did come
recovery.
to the last MOA meeting that attended FAD, and I think it's great what you're doing. And Laura, let's switch gears a little bit. So, it says you're involved with a bunch of community groups. Tell me what that looks like, and what are you doing with groups? And
Sure. Sort of to both of your points just now, we really understand that this work is so important to be involved in the community and understand what everyone else is doing so that we're not replicating services, that we're able to support the youth in the community and know what's going on. And so to that, we do attend regular meetings. We're part of MOA. We also are part of the Mystic Valley Public Health Coalition and attend their monthly meetings.
Malden's Promise.
Malden's Promise, exactly.
FAD.
FAD. I was just compiling a list of meetings that we go to, and there's about 12 meetings that meet monthly and quarterly that our team goes to, and they're in both Malden and in Everett. So there's quite a few meetings, and we do that so that we know what the resources are and what's going on, and so that we can then communicate that to our youth. So one thing, too, that we created over the last couple of years, it was a much larger project than we thought. We created a Malden Youth Resource Guide, and it's specific to youth in Malden, and that they're the audience that this resource guide would go to. And it links the youth to different services that would include behavioral health, substance use resources, school supports, as well as extracurricular activity, because we understand the importance of youth being connected to their community, that's a large part of prevention as well. So that's something that we're really proud of that we just created.
That's amazing. And so it says here that your team is also involved with youth opioid prevention. It's a grant awarded through the Attorney General's office.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Sure, and you can jump in too, because I know, Catherine, you're familiar with that too. But this grant was awarded by the Attorney General's office, and it was only awarded to a handful of communities, and Malden was awarded this grant. And so the Malden Public School System actually is the keeper of the grant, and my organization is involved just to provide some support around facilitation of the curriculum. So the curriculum that is going to be used is life skills, which is again an evidence-based curriculum.
Let me ask a question on the
Sure.
life skills and the grant. Is it grade specific or is it all kids? Like, tell me about
so
that.
it's grade specific for right now.
What grade?
It's 8th grade, district-wide. And so life skills is a evidence-based curriculum that is used strongly across the state and is approved by the Bureau of Substance Abuse Services. And it's similar to the curriculum that we use, but it's specific to substance use prevention, but it does teach skills that are important for youth to know as well. And so that will be happening this fall.
That's amazing. And so, Catherine, I think you do have some information on that, but I know that you're working closely with the superintendent, the new superintendent, who has, it sounds like he's opened his arms to your FAD meetings. You know,
Yes.
giving you the you know, I know we had a switch in the top at the school system. So, has he attended, or does he plan on attending, or tell me more about exactly what happens at the meetings? Did he just let you come in and pick up where you left off?
I mean, basically, so when we had that change in administration, the superintendent was very much aware of this program and is very much in support of it, in support of everything that FAD is about. So, and he hasn't attended a meeting yet. I've only had one meeting since he's been in.
Okay.
So, I'm pretty sure that he will either be at this meeting or the next one, because we do have them monthly. So I know that he's very much in support of this and will be there. And what happens at the meetings? So when I start the meetings, I introduce everybody that's there, and then I ask them, what grades their children are in, and I have worksheets. So I have K through 2nd grade, 3rd grade through 5th grade, 6 to 8, and then 9 to 12. And these are worksheets. So there's hypothetical situations, examples, questions, and they'll take the worksheets, bring them home with their child, and see how their child's doing. So it might be a peer pressure situation. It could be a child that's 3 years old, and they see their little brother or little sister playing with a bottle of pills, and then they could ask their child, what would you do in that situation? Would you tell someone that you trust? So the worksheets are very age specific.
So it's a teaching mechanism as well to show them, like, if this was to happen, you should go to an adult. I'm just hypothetically saying with that worksheet, if someone was to find pills. So this is amazing.
Yeah, and also so for the kindergarten, there's a hand, and you draw the hand, and you ask your child, name 5 people that you trust. So now you're opening up the child's mind and thinking about, who do I trust? And they write their names, or they could draw a picture of them. And that way, now, if something were to happen in their lives, no matter what age they are, no matter where they are in their life,
They go to one of
they're
the
going to go to
people.
that hand. They're going to think about the hand. They're going to think about the people that they drew, the names that they wrote, and they're going to go to them. So it's great, and I'm proud of it, and I know that something good will come out of it.
That's amazing. And tell me what you think about your plans. Like, what are your future plans with FAD? What are your hopes? What are your dreams, your goals with the Malden Public School System?
So I think everyone's goal is to have some sort of curriculum inside our schools, starting at kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. I mean, there's nothing there right now. So, when I was going through the Malden Public School System, we had the DARE program. And it would be nice to have some type of drug and alcohol awareness program in there. I also am going to, advocate for health teachers. And eventually, I'd like to make FAD a nonprofit, if I can. That way we could host events, take
Raise
money,
money,
and,
right.
raise money and, and give it back to the school system, maybe put that towards a curriculum. So
I'm going to put the sheets aside here and both these chime in. Let's get right down to the nitty gritty. You just nailed it, and I'm glad you talked about health teachers, you talked about curriculum. We're talking about, we know what we're facing. This problem that we're all facing, every single one of us, the viewers, us, we all know somebody Everybody's connected to this disease. People are dying left and right. Malden has had the most overdoses in the past 3 months that it's ever had, that on record. So I believe, and just tell me what you guys think, the bottom line is it starts with the kids. And we have to educate our children. So you said it, when I was young, they had DARE. They had the Nancy Reagan thing, this is your brain, this is drugs, like all that stuff was out. Everything has went away, and it's all seems to be a funding issue. So from where I sit, I love what you said. I think we should bring something as low as kindergarten. And I don't mean talking about heroin and drugs in kindergarten, obviously. I mean a proper curriculum where there's strength-based, positive affirmations, strength building, where the child is just learning the proper etiquette moving forward, and then grade specific. As each grade goes up, you give them a little bit more, so by the time they're in 5th or 6th grade and Johnny flicks his finger on the bag and says, yo, check it out, you're probably going to be empowered with that information and say, you know what, that's not good for me. So am I on the right track? I think that's where we need to go. I think we all need to put our efforts to what your point, Laura. You go to all these meetings, there's Malden Overcoming Addiction, there's Healthy Me, there's FAD, there's all these groups. We should all try to get on the same page and work with local and state officials to see if there is grant funding out there or some kind of money to bring these health teachers back with some type of curriculum, because until we educate our youth, this is not going to get any better.
You know
What do you think?
Yeah, I completely hear what you're saying, and I very much agree. I think the staggering of education is so important, and giving youth skills to make healthy choices for themselves is so important. And it is a community approach for sure. It's not just the school's responsibility or the parents' responsibility. It's the community as a whole to really support youth in this issue and other issues too. But
100%.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, the parents definitely should be involved, as well as the community and all these programs. And what I find at my FAD meetings is that the parents don't know how to talk to their child about drugs and alcohol. They're scared of opening up the box, and now their child's going to become curious. But that's where it's kind of steering them in the wrong direction, because if they're not going to hear it from their own parents or their households, they're going to hear it from their peers. So trying to get the parents to understand that let's talk about it now, so that if something were to happen, they'll be more inclined to go to you for help, because you've already opened up that communication with them.
And also talking about the here and now, what about, and let's face it, this is real and this is happening, there's parents out there that are using and that the children see it, and we need to also have some type of safety net, safety zone, education for those kids and resources available, because now stigma sets in. Nobody wants to talk about what's going on at home, and I'm going to turn to Malden Overcoming Addiction's Stop the Stigma Day. When we run Stop the Stigma Day, the kids come out, they're tweeting. We've taken phone calls like this is the best thing ever, because they're going through it at home. And I firmly believe that if we can create some type of after-school clubs where kids can go and talk about this stuff, like a safe place where they can go. So I don't know if everyone knows what Stigma Day is, but let's educate the public right now. So once a year, we do a program where we get in as low as 6th grade. And it's 3,300 students. It's every school in the city. We get to go in. Everybody wears a blue ribbon. And it's the color of recovery. They get a chance to take a selfie. Malden Overcoming Addiction goes in. We speak to each principal, the superintendent, and they allow us in. And at a certain time during the day, these kids take a selfie. They post it on any social media with hashtag Malden Stop the Stigma. Then, not only is all that going on, we show up at each school and we host in the auditorium. We get a half an hour in each school. It covers the whole day. We go in, we talk to the kids about stigma. We want to hear about what their feelings are. They make banners and they write on the banners what stigma is to them. They create a video. We work very closely with the high school students and we empower them. We let them make the video to what stigma is, and then we show it in every classroom across the city. So we're making a difference, but this is huge, and I'm hoping this year, with both of your help, we could make Stigma Day even bigger. 2 years ago, we hit over 200,000 people. It went all the way to Kuwait.
wow.
So
That's amazing.
I'm hoping that you guys can get on board this year, and even take it further, but Stigma Day is working.
It's funny that you mentioned Stigma Day because at my last FAD meeting, I had a parent that came. Her child was, I think, in the 7th grade or 8th grade, and she was with her. She was with her mom, and she had mentioned Stigma Day, and she had mentioned the ribbon, and it was great. So everything's tying in together. Programs are tying in together. Parents are aware that they're seeing the things that are going on, and that's what it's all about. I was very proud. I was very happy that she mentioned Stigma Day. It was huge, and so MOA is definitely talks about at these FAD meetings because they're going. They're going, and they're going to the meetings that are held once a month, and they're participating in the events.
And, having the kids, stigma might not sound like a big thing to be teaching, but I believe it's everything because stigma comes in so many forms. It comes in overweight. It comes in different color. It comes in, I don't look like you. It comes in, I might have a disfigurement. It comes in whether I have a mental health issue. And it's absolutely crippling for anybody. I mean, even an adult. Like, stigma is so crippling, and it's so important that we work together and teach people, just how to break down the walls of stigma.
Right, and if you think about stigma, you sort of think about the belief that things can make you feel uncomfortable. And so that's where this idea of stigma comes from. Substance abuse is uncomfortable to talk about,
Big
and
time.
it can be really difficult to talk about, especially as a parent, as a school, as an adult. But not talking about it doesn't make things go away. And there, I think, sometimes can be a perception that if we don't speak of it, that or if we're speaking about it, that we can sometimes plant a seed in like a youth's brain, which is not accurate. We need to give young people the correct information and have these conversations and make sure that they are connected with an adult that they can get the correct information and accurate information from. But stigma, to me, just means that it makes people uncomfortable.
Hugely uncomfortable, and that it keeps people using. Like someone, and a kid as well. If a kid is in high school, and I've seen it firsthand because they've come to me, if they're using, they don't want anyone to know.
Right.
And they're not going to tell anyone because they're afraid what you're going to think. Can't because just that idea of being the pressure, the peer pressure in school of you're going through something where you're different. You cannot talk about it because God knows where that can lead you. So it's so important that we work together and help everyone understand to break down that barrier. And it is a barrier. It's absolutely awful.
Huge barrier.
A lot of parents think too, oh, it's not going to happen to Bobby. Oh, it won't happen to my Billy. It won't happen to my Mary. It can happen to anybody.
100%.
Anybody.
And so I'm gonna go a little off topic, but staying in the same lane. So I believe we're really trying at Malden Overcoming Addiction to bring a recovery center to the city, which programs like you guys would really help putting in the center. A resource table, having just resources available. Our goal in the center is to have resources available for parents. That's going to be a part of the center where, what's the number one offender if you're just at home, you're a mom or a dad, and you're not addicted, you've never done drugs, you never would even think your child's using, but when it comes down to it and you find out that that might be the case, you have no idea what to do. None. Who to call. You just don't. Like that, what an awful feeling not knowing. And all these resources that we share are out there. So we want to have that center. And we want to have like a resource center inside the recovery center just for the driver by that wants to come in and get that information. Like we need to do more for people. And I understand how difficult this work is, and it's trying, and it's a lot of hours, and we're volunteers, and things get really difficult watching the pain and suffering that families go through, as well as our children. And I just think moving forward, we have to pool our resources even closer together. So Laura, you work very closely with the city, with Ashley Wright.
I do.
What is Ashley's position, and how are you guys, in a brief minute or two, tell me a little bit about what you and Ashley are putting together.
Sure. So Ashley is the Partnership for Success coordinator out of the health department. And so she works to prevent prescription opiate use within high school age youth. And so she and I work very closely together on a couple of different things. The first project that you were also part of again was part of developing the Malden Public School System substance abuse policy, which really took the approach of a restorative approach versus a punitive approach. So if a student would be identified as using substances, then they wouldn't just necessarily be punished right away. There would be conversations and a team that would be brought together to really help support that student. And so this was a long group process with administration from the high school, middle school, as well as school committee members, and the superintendent was also involved in this last year. So this is the first school year where this has been in effect. So that was one of her first major projects. She also is working to put together a subcommittee from the Malden Promise Group around substance abuse efforts within the city. And so this is just to what you were speaking about, as well as bringing all the folks who are working on substance abuse related topics to come together.
Bringing us together. Right.
Exactly, so that individuals and families don't slip through the cracks, and that we're all working to our best ability to really support the efforts that are being done within Malden.
That's, and there's so much being done in Malden. We're very lucky. We have a ton of people who care, and we're just going to continue the work. And as far as I'm concerned, we're not going to stop until this problem gets somewhat, I don't want to even say under control. I don't know if we'll ever get it there, but we just have to keep moving forward. And I can't thank the both of you enough for coming on the show. I do want to just add that if you're struggling and you might need help, please contact Malden Overcoming Addiction, www.maldenovercomingaddiction.com. You can hit us up on Facebook. We'll answer your message right away. You can send us an email at maldenovercomingaddiction@gmail.com. The phone number is 781-838-2203. And please, if you are struggling, just give us a call, and we'll see you next month. Thanks for tuning in.